Welcome to Zama Victor English and Literature Academy. Today I'm going to teach you the literary phrase called the Renaissance. The Renaissance literature. The Renaissance is a literary period in English literature. It started around 16th century, between 1500 to 1660 AD. This period was characterized with adventurous discovering, growth in humanism, classical influence, optimism, reformation in the history of English language. Man became realizes his identity. Man became realistic in nature. Man began to rely on himself. The man began to search for his own identity. Growth of humanism gave the tree was another trigger because of the discovering and exploration and adventures. Man began to question religious principles. Man began to realize himself and believe on his. Another factor that triggered this period was discovering of printing press. Discovering of printing press gave man begin to read. Wide range of reading and growth in humanism also another factor that triggered this period. Man begin to question the order of the day. In fact, the word Renaissance was used by the classical scholars to recover the identity when English or to recover the identity in the history of English language, when English growth in high length of civilization. In fact, it was another form of civilization in the history of English language. People were exploring, adventuring, and discovering a lot of other in questioning the critical reform of principles. A lot of reformation, a lot of things. In fact, this period was characterized into four divisions, which were mainly one is the Elizabethan period, 2 is the Jacobean period, 3 is the Caroline period, 4 is the Commonwealth period. I say it again. First is the Elizabethan period, 2 is Jacobean period, 3 is the Caroline age, and the fourth one is the Commonwealth age. These literary periods produced great writers like William Shakespeare, John Donne, Edmund Spenser, Bacon, a great philosopher of that time, and Spenser, I've said it, John Donne, Samuel Johnson, and the other great writers of the time. These writers were mostly produced a lot of, in fact, it was the growth of poetry in the history. Growth of poetry was remarkable. In fact, these are the key factors that triggered this period, which were as follows. First was great interest in traveling, exploration, and commerce was a key factor that triggered this period. Another kind of new form in sonnet was introduced in the history of English language. Man became nationalistic and in feelings, and pathetic also in feelings. Great literary output in poetry, in fact, it was the golden age of drama and poetry in the history of English language. Poetry became fresh. Youth and romance feelings. Youth became mostly in romance feelings. A new classical influence was also influenced this period. In fact, it was essay became a remarkable, and it was established in the history of English language. Major writers of that time it produced a great writer in this era, which were William Shakespeare, Edmund Spenser, Bacon, a great philosopher and writer of the essays of the time, Sidney and John Donne, Christopher Marlowe, and the other writers which few were mentioned here. In fact, in summary, the Renaissance period can be characterized in this form. 1. It was age of reformation. It was age of humanism and humanism in literature. Age of humanism. It was also an era in English literature where most writers questioned the order of the church, clerical abuses, and humanism, optimism, questioning order of religious principle, because the former era or the previous era, which were medieval era, was held with religious principle, guidance, and in order. In fact, religions, it was religious in two, but in the Renaissance era was humanistic and optimism. Man rely on himself. Man no longer believe in the religious guidance. Man begin to work for himself and realize himself, which was triggered by exploration, discovering, adventures, and a lot of things was discovered. Writers of this major work of this output, this is the time, most time Shakespeare wrote most of his major work at this time. Christopher Marlowe wrote most of his work at this time. John Donne wrote most of his poetry, which were mainly metaphysical poetry, was wrote in this time, especially Jacobean age. Not only that, Samuel Johnson also wrote at this time. Johnson also wrote at this time. Not only that, Bacon wrote most of his essays at this period. I will stop here. Subscribe to my YouTube channel for more information. Thank you.